Hi everyone, so welcome to another Monday video. I have my notes again. Today we're going to cover some tips and things to look at when you're preparing your CV. So if you're new here, my name is Caroline. I'm a UK-based physics lecturer. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining our channel here on YouTube. So today I'm going to cover just some points to think about when you're putting together or preparing your CV. So I was thinking how best to convey these tips. And when you apply for a job, when you put your CV together, I guess you're looking to advance your career. Now, work with me here. I thought, okay, well, let's use the word advance and let's make our points memorable by linking them to a letter in that word. So my points are: you need to address gaps on your CV. You need to think about what distinguishes you. You want to look at the visual layout of your CV. You want to make sure you're bringing out your achievements, but you also want to make sure that you're doing notable highlights related to the job. You want to make sure that your CV demonstrates that you're going to complement the team, and you want to show that you've got evidence to back up what you're saying. So let's just go through these then, and I'll do a few lines on each. So addressing gaps. This could be a gap in time on your CV where maybe you weren't employed or you had a study or career break, or it could be actually a skills gap. So maybe the job asks for something and you haven't got that particular skill. So what you can do here is think of maybe a complementary area that you could use to demonstrate that skill. And that might not be demonstrated within the CV, but you might want to demonstrate it on your covering letter. So if you haven't got maybe a lot of experience, I don't know, in a leadership role in academia, but you have led maybe an outdoor group or an extracurricular activity group, you might want to make sure you've got that on your CV, but then maybe you also want to bring out that in your covering letter. So just take a step back from your CV and think, if I was the person hiring, what are the gaps that I would notice in my CV? And then think if you've got any evidence that you can use to fill in those gaps, and more on evidence later. Okay, my next point, and this is the D in advance, is think about what distinguishes you. Yes, the person hiring is looking to fill a particular job, particular position, and that will come with requirements and responsibilities for that role. But they're also looking to employ a person, a human. You know, they need to have somebody to fill this role. So look at your CV and think, okay, well, what's going to distinguish me out from maybe the other CVs? So maybe you've won a lot of research money in a previous job or position, or maybe your research has been very well publicised. Maybe you've actually had to handle quite a large budget. Maybe you've had to juggle many tasks at the same time. If you were PhDing, maybe you had your own research, but you were involved quite a lot in teaching. So think about the things that are going to distinguish you, and are they coming out strongly enough on your CV? You know, they're looking to get a feel for the person that's actually behind their CV document. Okay, then the next point, V. Think about the visual layout of your CV. In a future video, again, I can chat a little bit about the differences in an academic CV to a CV if you're applying for industry, but they both share the same thing. You want the visual layout of your CV to be appealing. So I've done a lot of interview sifts in the past. I've sifted through a lot of CVs, and a nicely laid out CV, good formatting, not too many font types, not too many different colours or text types, a very readable CV, a CV where there's enough space around the text. Nothing worse than getting a CV that's all just densely packed text that you've got to try to work your way through. Take a step back, have a look at your CV and think, if I was somebody having to read many CVs, is my CV visually appealing to the person to pick up? Does it look professional, a good layout, and is the information nicely presented, so not too much dense text? Okay, the next thing is your CV is obviously trying to convey your achievements. You don't want to overinflate your achievements, but you don't want to be modest either. You want to be very factual about what you have achieved. So make sure you've not missed any key achievements out. And also think about the order in which you're showing your achievements. And again, this would vary a little bit depending on whether you're applying for a postdoc or for a lectureship or for a PhD or for a job in industry. But you want those achievements to come out and be very clearly linked, I guess, to the role that you're going for. So in my case, if I'm applying for a lectureship position, I want to show that I've achieved publications. So I want my paper record to be quite good on the CV. I want to show that I've achieved some form of teaching before I got that job. I want to show that I've achieved some research and that I can lead a novel line of inquiry. These are all things that I need to show, and so it can be quite a good idea actually to list out your achievements and then work out which is the best way to shape and frame them on your CV, to make it nice and easy for the person looking through your CV to go, oh, this person has achieved X and our job is looking for this as well. So that's quite a good match. After achievements though, I've got a category called notable. So your achievements are what you've personally done. And then I guess notable things are a little bit different. What I'm suggesting you do here is look at the job description and try to pick out from that any notable features, and then look at your CV and see if those notable features are reflected in your CV. So let's get specific here. Let's say that the lectureship job application wants a particular skill in a particular area. So I'm a physicist, let's pretend that they want you to demonstrate awareness of how to use a particular microscope. So I want to make sure that that notable point is brought out in my CV if possible. So if I have used that microscope before, I want to make sure that I've got a line in my CV demonstrating that I have awareness and knowledge of how to use that microscope. If I've not used that microscope before, I want to have a line in there which shows that I can handle a similar piece of equipment. So maybe not a microscope, but maybe I've used a different piece of technical equipment, but that I had to learn that piece quite quickly and that I was able to do that. So look at the notable features in the job description and the job requirements and think about your CV and whether it reflects those notable features. So achievements are what you've achieved and you need to show those, and then notable features are making sure you're bringing out those bits and bobs in the job requirements that are going to match up in your CV. Then my C in advance is actually complement the team. So in the same, well, it's kind of, I guess it's the opposite a little bit to the D, which is distinguishes you. So your CV on the one hand wants to show why you're unique and a good fit for the role and the unique features that you can bring to that position. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're also showing the employer in your CV that you've got skills that are going to complement the team. You know, if they're asking you to use particular software, if they're asking you to work in a particular style, it's kind of nice to be able to show in your CV that you're used to that environment. So maybe they want you to work in a particular way. There'll be like maybe, I don't know, remote meetings, and then maybe you'll kind of have office sessions every now and then. If you've worked in a similar mode, you can show that on your CV somewhere or in your covering letter, because it shows that you're going to be able to complement the team. So as well as bringing the unique features that distinguish you, you're also going to be able to work with those around you in a team situation if that's going to be necessary. So it's not only complementing the team, but complementing the role and complementing the environment that you're going to be doing the role in. Okay, and then the last one, my E, this is for evidence. Your CV needs to have substance. It's no good giving statements but then showing no evidence for it whatsoever. You know, I could say on my CV, I have a physics degree, but I have to give evidence. So I need to say I have a physics degree, it was awarded on this particular date from this particular university. And that's fairly standard when you're putting a qualification down, but you also need to have that level of evidence behind your other areas on your CV. So if I say that I use a particular piece of software, so maybe I've used, I don't know, let's say MATLAB or Python. Let's pretend that I've used a particular software code. Not only will I state the code and maybe the version that I'm familiar with, I would probably then also try to have a couple of lines showing a particular project or task that used that code. So an area where I had to apply the code, and maybe if it was a deliverable for a customer, I can get that in there as well to show that I can work to time and against a brief. But what I'm doing is I'm not just saying I can use Python, I'm saying I can use Python and here's the evidence behind when and how I've used it in the past. So look through it, look through your CV, find where you've put your achievements down, and then make sure you're providing the evidence to support those achievements. So that is my list. You need to address the gaps in your CV, distinguish what makes the CV your CV, look at your visual layout, look at your achievements, look at the notable features, think about how you're going to complement the team or the environment or the area that you're applying to work in, and make sure you back up your CV with evidence. So they are just my tips and pointers. As I said, I've never seen the word advanced be used in this way before, so it's very much my tips and pointers. If you go, I guess, onto the internet, you can find loads of suggestions and ideas of how to make your CV stand out and what you need to do in order to make it a nice CV and a well-balanced CV to read. I think it might be useful in the future to talk a little bit, though, about the academic CV for a lectureship position. Most CVs typically are 2 pages in length, but that's not the case when you go for a lectureship. My CV for working in industry was a couple of sides of A4, but my CV for working at a university as a lecturer is a lot longer. So if that's going to be something that's going to be useful or interesting, in a future video I can talk through actually the things and the sections that you need to have in an academic CV if you're going for a lectureship position. So you let me know in the comments if that would help. If not, I'll be back here on Thursday. So Thursdays are my weekly vlog. I just pick up the camera at a few times during the week and capture a little bit of a snippet about what's going on in the academic semester. So if you're interested in what's happening at a university right now, please do join me on Thursday. As always, I love reading your comments and suggestions, so any topics that you'd like to see covered, please let me know. I have a long list of topics that I'm going to work through this year, but always really like to see your suggestions and ideas, and I can adapt the ordering of the topics to kind of suit as we need to, so please do let me know. Keep looking after yourself. It's still a very, very difficult time, so wherever you are, I hope things are safe for you and that you're able to keep enjoying and progressing whatever you're up to. But yeah, do look after yourself. So yeah, have a good few days. I hope those fun tips were helpful, and I'll be back here on Thursday. Oh yeah, and do like and subscribe. Please do like and subscribe. It's so much fun to have a little space here on YouTube. And anyway, I will see you on Thursday. Okay, bye.